I think the Bloomberg thing is real here, and I'll tell you why. Because I think Joe Biden's in real trouble. I really do. And the reason I say that isn't because of data. The reason I say, well, the data is showing he's in trouble too. The reason I say that is because of things like this.
I'm going to support you if you win the nomination because we got to get rid of Trump. But what are we going to do about climate change? Now, you say you're against pipelines, but then you want to replace these gas lines. That's not going to work. We got to stop building and replacing pipelines.
You got to go vote for somebody else.
All right, thanks so much, sir. We're going to have you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I'm going to vote you in the general if you treat me
Yeah,
right.
I know. Well, I'm not.
Well, can I have
Look,
a
you're asking a picture of me. You're coming up and telling me you don't support me.
No.
My plan. Yeah, you did. You said you
I said I will support you in the general.
in the general. I'm looking for a primary.
We're happy to
and a
get a number.
caucus.
We can follow up.
That's what I'm looking for, okay?
Just because
Now,
we're trying to get.
You believe that Bernie can do something by 2030?
I'm actually supporting Tom Steyer.
Thompson, well, that's good. He's the guy that did
Thanks
more
so much,
coal
sir. We
mines.
have a long line right
He
here.
made more coal than the entire country did.
All right, thank you.
Happy to get you got the right
Can we
guy.
get a picture?
Let's get to a few things here. Let's get to a few things. First of all, why does Joe Biden feel that he has to touch everyone? Like, I'm not trying to be funny here, but he just is like touching this guy's jacket, his shirt. He's very, very up in his grill. It's just very, very weird. It's very, very strange. I mean, we all have seen, his issues with personal space with young children. But, part of politics, a big part of politics is not just your policies, but it's the visuals. It's optically, what does this look like? And Joe Biden's campaign really does look like it's like a record from 1980. And that's not going to win in this new, sorry to borrow from my friends, it's not going to win in this new woke age where young people are wising up, where a lot of older voters are starting to wisen up to them being screwed. And Joe Biden also, it doesn't seem that he understands you have to actually convince people to vote for you. Whenever people question him on the campaign trail and grill his record, there is a entitlement in his response. Go vote for Trump then. Yeah, go vote for somebody else. This is not how, and I can only imagine what his advisors, his campaign manager, his donors, what they are, their facial expressions when they see this. This is not how you convince people to vote for you. And I think he thinks, and it's a very Hillary Clinton mindset, it's my turn. I earned this. I put in the time. I've been in there. I've been in the swamp for 40 years. Who are these coming up to me and questioning me? So, I mean, I've already gone through all the polls, but, I mean, right now, Real Clear Politics, the average in Iowa, Bernie is in the lead in the average in Iowa. Right now in New Hampshire, Bernie is in the lead in the average of the polls. But putting aside the polls, a lot of politics comes down to not just polling, but it comes down to, are people inspired by you? A lot of people were inspired by Donald Trump's bullshit. A lot of people were not inspired by Hillary Clinton's, like, stronger together, love beats Trump's hate, So I just think, particularly in Iowa, which involves people coming out, not just to vote, but to, like, be there for 2-3 hours, I really don't think Joe Biden's going to, I think is going to possibly come in third or fourth. What's incredible about this, and by the way, this is free advice. I don't work with the Bernie Sanders campaign, but free advice if anybody's watching. You know what really strikes me about Joe Biden? And it's very easy to do an ad like this. We are America. We are the United States of America. There ain't a damn good thing we can't do if we want to. But we can't get to, zero emissions by 2030. But we can't do universal health care. But we can't. I mean, the contradiction of Joe Biden, the contradiction, the lie of the Biden campaign is we're going to restore the soul of the nation. There's not a damn thing we can't do without each other. Yet, all you do is say what we can't do. There are many scientists on the record supporting Bernie Sanders, saying, oh yeah, we could get to zero emissions by 2030. There's plenty of healthcare experts that say, yeah, slam dunk, we could have Medicare for all, and it could be cheaper than Joe Biden's, vision of healthcare and Mayor Pete's vision of healthcare, which is not actually healthcare. It's just bending over for big pharma and big health insurance industries. Joe Biden, why I think that Mike Bloomberg, what the Democratic Party is starting to plan, is for Michael Bloomberg to be like, the billionaire's Paul Revere, for Michael Bloomberg to be like, the establishment's Batman. I can't wait for the graphics we're going to put together. Colin, if you're watching, we definitely need Michael Bloomberg as Batman, Superman, with just dollars all over him. It would be wonderful. So, and I can't blame them because Joe Biden is just, he's a terrible politician. Maybe he used to be a good politician, but he's not a good politician now. And I think that as a result of Joe Biden being a bad politician, you collectively have the corporate media who forever, all they do is hype up how important Iowa is. They see that Joe Biden is such damaged goods that now you see pieces from the Washington Post. Iowa's looking less and less like that clarifying moment Democrats had hoped for. So they're playing down the importance of the Iowa caucus now. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. You just can't. Also, another reason that it's looking like Bloomberg might be the establishment's, final hope is because Joe Biden's campaign is basically waving the white flag in New Hampshire. This is from Politico. Why Biden scaled back in New Hampshire. I'm not going to read you the whole thing, but Joe Biden has said he doesn't need to win the first presidential primary state in the nation, and he's campaigning like it. Biden has been dark on New Hampshire television since the new year. He has a smaller presence on the ground compared with his rivals, barely takes questions from voters, and he's trailing in the polls here. Biden's New Hampshire media buys, events, and overall footprint indicate it's the early state that's getting relatively short shrifts, so he can more effectively contest the other three states with nominating contests before Super Tuesday. So the thing about this is, there's never been in a Democratic Party, there's never been somebody who lost Iowa and New Hampshire. There's never been somebody. Excuse me, that's not true. Bill Clinton lost Iowa and New Hampshire and still became the nominee. So check me on that. It is very rare. It is very rare for somebody to become the Democratic nominee and lose if they lost Iowa and New Hampshire. The reason I think it would be nearly impossible in this case for Joe Biden if he lost Iowa and New Hampshire is because Nevada is before South Carolina. So not in many years, South Carolina came before Nevada. If Joe Biden loses Iowa and New Hampshire, I mean, Bernie Sanders, and if he loses and Bernie Sanders wins both of those states, which right now, if those primaries were held today, according to the polls, Bernie Sanders would win Iowa and New Hampshire. I don't think his volunteers should treat it that way. I don't think his campaign should treat it that way. I think they should mentally think they're 10 points down. You got to be hungry. It's like if you're winning in sports, you can't feel like you have already won it because then you underestimate the competition. You have to act like you're still down and be just as desperate. But if Bernie Sanders wins Iowa and New Hampshire, Bernie's already doing spectacularly well among Latinos. Nevada has a humongous Latino population. Bernie, if he wins Iowa and New Hampshire, he's going to have more momentum than we've ever seen in progressive politics heading into Nevada. And Joe Biden is not going to have momentum unless he comes in a very close second in both. If Bernie Sanders wins Iowa, New Hampshire, and then Nevada, there is no way in hell Joe Biden's going to be the nominee. Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.